Tonight, we're going to be looking at some of the best options for locking bit holders. There's a bunch where you just push the bit in, but these actually have kind of a quick release, kind of slide down feature that actually this one has a slide up. So we're going to look at some options of these and let you know what stores you go to get some of the better bit holders. And then let me know in the comments below if I missed out any. Before we get started, Diablo makes one. Wasn't really something to write home about. If it was, it would be in this collection. But the Bosch takes the cake when it comes to the quality versus the Diablo. That's for certain. So I think they're very similar. I've used the Bosch for years. I don't feel the need to explore on the Diablo. I remember buying the Diablo and I really wasn't impressed with it. So let's get started and looking at the features, and also got a new one here from DeWalt that I've not tried yet. So I'm excited to try that. We're gonna look at the magnetivity of these, how the bit locks in, how the bit releases, what stores to go to, all that stuff. So here we go. First up, let's look at something we all have seen before. You can get this at Home Depot. Have the prices down below or in the comments or somewhere down there. But basically, I've got two of these. I've got the little 3-inch or 4-inch one, and then I've got this long one here. And you can see it is fairly magnetic. So it is pretty reliable when it comes to just taking your screw gun, if you will, and putting it into the box of screws, grabbing one off, loading it, and getting after it, right? So that's one thing that I look at is how good is the magnet, so I can just jab this in a box of screws, pick some up, hand it to my free hand, and get going. Another thing we're going to look at is how does the bit release. So this one here, I believe you pull it straight down. It almost has kind of like a pop-up feature. So if we pull this, you can see the bit kind of just pops up. I'm going to push it back down so you guys can see in case you missed it. So right now the bit is in, and you pull that there, and you can see where it's kind of up in the air now, and we should be able to pull it out, I believe. Let's see. Now I've used this a lot, so it might be stiff. There we go. So we had to give it a little bit of extra force there. So that is potentially going to take points off, or it's going to add points because I don't like bit holders that just release my bits. So I kind of appreciate having to push a little bit extra than most, but I feel like it was also quite a bit to get it off. So that's definitely not going to drop your bits down the wall. Now, as an electrician, I'm one of those guys that uses an impact when I'm driving or whenever I'm drilling through material. If you cut out a hole about yay big at the very top of a wall, and you get your impact, and you've got your speed bore or whatever you've got, and you're drilling through the double top cap, you got to use a bit extension. In the past, I have used this one here. Now I've got an extra long one here for this reason, just for doing what I'm telling you about. But in the past, the 8-inch one would suffice. You typically tape this up to make sure this thing doesn't get bumped, because this one is a little bit more sensitive than the DeWalt one. And honestly, I'm liking the DeWalt one so much. We're going to review this here in a second, but I'm going to let you know what I think about the Bosch, which is just a fantastic bit holder for years now. This is newer versus the Bosch, and just how does things release and stuff. So you can see here, we're really having to push pretty hard on this. I'm going to lock it back in there and give it a couple of... Is it out now? Nope, still not out. So we're going to really push hard on it. Okay. So okay, so now it's in. There you go. So that might be a pro versus a con as far as I'm concerned, if it's going to hold on to my bits. There's nothing worse than a lost bit in a wall. So this is looking like a positive feature. Now, I'm going to show you why this newer DeWalt and even the Milwaukee might be better. Let's look at the Bosch now. This is the Bosch here. We're going to look at how it accepts the bit and the magnetivity. So we're going to pop this out. That was fairly easy, but also had some leverage on a table to push straight down. And then I'm going to show you something that I've been using versus all the bit holders. That's a magnet that's just really good. But that's going to come here in a minute. All right, let's try the Bosch now. So we're going to pull this straight down. And we don't get a pop-up feature. It does not exist. Pop-up feature is something DeWalt does really well with a lot of their impacts and drivers and things like that. If I had to think of which one does it, it might be the 840, but I'm not certain. Let's see. No, I'm trying to think which DeWalt does it. I know that the Rigid does it really well. So here's a pop-up feature here. It is quick insert. At least it should be if it was ready to go. Get in there. Okay, and when we slide this, you're going to watch it all pop up. Watch. Pretty cool. And then you can just pull that straight out. And then you're ready to put it back in. And we pop it back up. Don't want to cover the camera there. There we go. Really satisfying stuff here. That's what you're into, man. I'm into it. I dig it. I don't know what to tell you. This is pretty cool. So, ready to go. The DeWalt mimics that. Would be the best way to explain it. The Bosch does not. So, it's not going to release until you get this. How far down do we have to go? So we're about halfway right now. Oh, and it's releasing. So we still have this much more travel to go. Watch. So let's see if we go about that much. Is it going to release? Yes, it is. And then look how much more travel we can still go. So just halfway down is enough to release the detents. Doesn't seem that impressive to me. I'm going to try that. Even that is in there, man. We got a lot of travel to still go for this thing to release so soon. So we're going to pull this just barely down. Man, it doesn't take much. Wow, it doesn't take much at all. Watch this. Just like even just the fingernail can probably release this. Yeah, man, that's wild. Watch the travel. Almost nothing. Locked back in. Pull it down just that much. Pops out, and then look how much more travel we still had to go. The Bosch isn't looking so good right now, just based on that alone. The DeWalt, the newer design, is probably going to be the winner among these two. I like the strength of the Bosch. You can see how much thicker it is, so it's definitely made for extensions for drills and things like that. A lot of your drill bits now have the hex. So keep that in mind before you write this thing off. You put tape on this, it stops us from sliding down. I've used this thing for years, but for everyday use, I don't think this is it anymore. And that hurts me to say. I did not expect to come into this video telling you that this Bosch isn't that good. The DeWalt is that much better. And the DeWalt has the flex and the torsion and all that whatever marketing that they want to throw at you, right? This has it here, and it's rated for impacts, and I've been using it on an impact. Hadn't seen too many issues with it, but I actually like that it's harder for that to slide up. I wonder if that's because of use and it's just got sheetrock dust in it, or what it's doing, but it seems like it gets better with age. Now, let's look at another one here. I want to look at the Milwaukee, because the Milwaukee has a completely different... Wow, that is actually in there. I can see how to break it, but man, for me not to be able to get that out first try, that is fairly impressive for the retention there. Let's see if we can open this up quickly while the camera is rolling, because I know you guys are waiting. Yeah, you're not going to open that in the store without a tool. That's probably what they're going for. Now, the Milwaukee slides up instead of down, and it actually doesn't have any down travel at all. So if you're drilling forward, this is not going to release. The other ones, if you're pushing forward and this gets caught, your bit is going down the wall, for example, or whatever's going to happen. It's easier to drop. If you put this in your tool bag, for example, and it slides down, you could potentially drop your bits. Maybe not the DeWalt, but absolutely the Bosch drops bits the second that you touch this. So let's put a bit in here. Fairly heavy, but also a quick insert. That's always a nice feature. You got to appreciate the quick insert when they got it. And it does have it. But as soon as you touch this just a little bit, it's going to drop out of there. When we have the DeWalt, because that's also a good test, if we do the DeWalt, it's not going to fall until we really push up, and then even still, it has magnetic retention here. And we're good to pull this out right now. So the DeWalt is winning right now, definitely in spades. Not only does it have retention on the collets, or almost a collet of itself with the detent balls, but it also has a magnet, and that's what makes this thing really nice. Let's see what the Milwaukee's got for us. It looks like it's got a magnet inside, and it does have that kind of torsion zone here. And it is Milwaukee, so it should be pretty good. I like that you have to slide it forward versus backwards. Some of Skill's little 4-volt drivers and stuff have a sliding forward mechanism, and this is no different. So let's get this here. Does it have quick insert? It does. Wow, that actually looks really nice. It makes me wonder what that's going to do, because you can see the displacement here. I'm going to undo it off camera so you guys can't see the magic of it. Right now it's way up here, and we're going to push this in, and it's going to slide all the way down. Watch that. That's kind of cool. Watch. I didn't see that happening. Let me do it again, because this is the amount of travel that it has, always. Like that is the travel right there. And if we push this down, I'm trying to see what happens exactly, because you get a lot more play in that. Let's watch it. It's so quick. So right now it is locked in, and if we are drilling and we're pushing forward, this thing is not going to fall. Now what happens if we touch it? Does it have retention on the magnet? That's going to be a big factor here. And it does. Very similar to the DeWalt. Let's see how magnetic it is. Let's go back to the Bosch really quickly and look at the magnet on it. So we put this bit in, quick insert style. And just as I thought, that's why I didn't bother showing you. But you guys are going to ask me in the comments, is it magnetic? Answer is no. Bosch is not magnetic. So far the DeWalt and the newer Milwaukee have the magnet. What does it look like with a 1-inch bit in there? I like it. I like it, and I usually don't like Milwaukee accessories. This is actually kind of huge. They might have pulled this off. It's got nice knurling on the front of it. It's a really good looking bit. It's Milwaukee, so Milwaukee fans are just going to love this thing. If we slide it up, it pops up. How much travel does it take to slide it up? Quite a bit. Look at that. Wow. I think it's still locked. Let's find out. It is. Slide it up. Keep going. There you go. Now it's unlocked. Now we can pull it. So you've got a lot of what I would call forgiveness for this, where even, you see that first click right there? It's still not unlocked. And if you don't believe me, okay, so we had to pull it pretty hard to unlock it, and it went back down into its natural state. So okay, so it's starting to rise there, but it's still locked. Like, as far as I'm concerned, you'd have to really pull that without a tool. You can't move it. So if we travel just a little bit more up, I'm calling it now. I like the function of it more. I like the function more than the DeWalt. It's really simple. It looks really good. And how magnetic is it? We got 3 screws on it. Doesn't seem as magnetic as the DeWalt. You got to remember, man, DeWalt has been doing this for years, and they are just wizards with their magnets and stuff. They got some of the better accessories out there. We're going to get... We got 4 screws on this right now, and we're able to wiggle it around. Maintain 2. Down to 1. Let's try it again. So here's the screws here. Quickly grabs them. That's 3. That's 3. Pretty. Getting some nice helicopters on that. Okay. We look at the Milwaukee. Again, the bit had to be popped out fairly aggressively to get it out, which I do like. Watch the magnet just snap it in there. Just pops it, just grabs it right in there. And then locks. And you can see here, we don't pick up the screws as easily. The first thing I noticed whenever I was trying to grab them, doesn't grab the screws as easily, and it is slightly less magnetic. Is it a deal killer? Not where it matters. But it is less magnetic. So that is going to weigh on my mind a little bit on which one I like more. I like the design. I like that the pull down is actually forward instead of backwards, where you would be drilling and dropping your bits. It's actually forward like this. I like the retention on it with the magnet itself. You can see where it just does not have as good of a magnet or as good of a kind of encompassing design to allow the magnet to get that much better on the bit, I guess you would say. Still very, very nice and a pleasant surprise. Definitely better than the Diablo. I kind of wish I had bought the Diablo, man. But I'm not made of money, guys. I just want to show you what I've used the most. And one more extra that looked interesting. If you're looking for a whole bunch of variations, man, leave it in the comments below. Okay, probably shouldn't have ripped that off. Honestly, I couldn't wait to open this, so I forgot. This is it here. It's like $11 from Lowe's. And I don't know anything about it. So I'm going to figure it out on camera. We're just going to pop the bit in and see what it does. Okay, so it looks like they've got... I almost thought that was like a C-ring going around there with the compression, but that does not look like the case. Does that pull it down? Oh, wow. That is the same thickness as the actual bit. Like, you're not accidentally going to bump that. This is definitely a lot wider. So we could take whatever diameter this is, we can take this drill bit and go all the way through. For this, we gotta have at least a 3/8 bit for it not to matter. We might be able to get away with a 5/16 here. So that is a factor here. I don't know how they managed to squeeze all that spring technology in that little cylinder and still make it reliable. We're going to pull straight down again and let's see what it does. So right now, it's definitely got retention. And it's a DeWalt, so I already know the magnet's going to be amazing. But I want to try that. We're going to pull this down. It pops up. Is it released? It is released, and I can feel that magnet in there, man. And that thing is a beast of retention. Okay, it's all the way in there. What's the travel look like behind it? Let's see. Not very much travel. How much more does it pop up? That's it. So it's got to go full travel. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, it's all the way open. Can we go down more? Like a 1/16 more. So this thing, you almost got to have the whole travel down for it to pop up. Right there. Do it again for you guys. right there. And then the travel all the way down. It's already down. And I mean, you can see my fingers there. You got to grab it just like all the great DeWalt bits, man. You got to love the retention on the DeWalts. You're not going to be leaving your screws behind on your material, or I'm sorry, leaving your bits behind on the screws or whatever in your material is almost a thing of the past nowadays when it comes to all these bits and the retention that we've got. If we pop this down, pops out, pops right out. If I hold this, is it easier? It's got a little springy action. See that there? Does it lose its springy action? It does because it locks in. So if we keep this down, pulls out a lot easier. So for some reason, if this gets unlocked, you still got a hard time pulling the bit out compared to the Bosch, for example, it just drops it out. So there's a good way to show you there. And even better yet, the same test. This is going to hold really nicely. Yeah, you can see it's just in there. It's new, so we're extreme testing it. It looks good though, it really does. What's the magnet on it doing for how reliable that is? Get some screws in my hand, hold it out. I know it doesn't help that I'm wearing a DeWalt shirt, guys. They're 30 bucks at Lowe's right now. It's like all I'm wearing. Okay, so we've got less than the Milwaukee. Less than Milwaukee, not as much as the original DeWalt. Decent, but not as impressive. Wow, was not expecting that. This is dead to me. So, I like my magnets. I do like the retention on this. I like the design. Is it dead? It's got things that I do and don't like about it. One thing I don't like about it, it's easy to lose. It looks like every other bit. It's a little long, so that's what's going for it. But they make a 4-inch one, and it's going to get lost with all the rest of the bits. This at least has a red line on it, a little bit easier to see, a little bit more distinctive here. This looks like every other driver. It's really impressive how skinny they made it, don't get me wrong. But it looks like every other driver, and it could easily get lost in the bottom of your tool bag. This is so easy to find. You can see this from across the room. You know what this is. It's got the yellow band here. It's got the yellow and then the silver and then the black. It just stands out really nicely. And it's one of the reasons why I was able to find it for this video. I got some other bit holders and stuff, but they're not locking, and I would have liked to put them on here, but really trying to push out some content for you guys, and I was like, I'm just going to do locking bit holders. If you want to see my favorite bit holder, let me know in the comments below, and I'll show you my absolute favorite. But I got to tell you, I've been using these locking bit holders for quite some time now, just because of the newer designs of some of these impacts. They're so stubby that you have to have a longer bit. If you look at this, by the time the battery comes out to here, it's basically flush with the front of your collet. It's almost stupid. Do I have a bit here? Yeah, let me show you this. Okay. So this is basically almost flush with the front of this, right? So you have to get a longer bit just to get away from the battery if you're working in a corner or whatever you're doing. Long bit holders is something that's going to be coming back very soon compared to the shorter ones, because in the past, most of your drivers and stuff were set forward. This is an older kind of style, still very front forward, but at least the collet protrudes beyond the battery for a change. And we could put a shorter bit in this, and we would definitely have enough, you know, work space to get whatever we're trying to do done. Even the 840 is kind of preferred, or the 845. because it's skinny, but it's longer. You buy these tools and you think, oh, they're so compact. But then you look at the actual function of them and you realize it's like, hey, I've got to get a longer bit in here. So as compact as we started, we're almost back in the same boat trying to compete with the space that we lost because the tool is so damn compact. But yeah, that's it for the locking bit holders. Let me show you, if I can find it here, one of my favorite accessories and why you might not even need a bit holder. And it was here. This is the Milwaukee accessory here, I guess you would call it. In the past, we had these accessories that went onto the front of our tips like this, and they sat pretty much right there. And I'm actually going to grab a Phillips because we need to show you. We can show you on this actually. So in the past, this is what they look like. Makita, DeWalt, they all made one and they sat like this. And they were very good at what they did. They held the screw very securely. But the problem is you couldn't see the tip of your screwdriver. And that's been the case for I don't know how long. That's just the way it's been. This thing came out and changed the game because now we can slide this back and still get a good magnet on here, and we can see the tip of the screw just by sliding that back, and we get good retention, and it's a good magnet. Like if I was to reach in a box of screws here, you can see the magnet on this thing is absolutely insane. Like really, really good. I mean, you saw the test that we were doing conservatively, and now you're seeing this thing, and it's actually pretty crazy. The level of connection we got from the magnet here, and it's not even that close to the screw yet, and we've got full visibility of the front of the screw, or the front of the tip, of the back of the screw. It's just a really, well, there it goes. Finally. It's just a really good option. So, okay, so it's going to shoot off just a little bit. But, I mean, we're going 3,000 RPM, so see how fast we can go. Yeah. Okay, you guys get the point. So, I recently bought these. I bought this. And I've been buying these bits. And I've been really liking the DeWalts. If you're looking for a bit holder, the Milwaukee looks like it's a pretty, like look at the magnet on it. The Milwaukee looks like it's a pretty good option. I like that it slides up instead of backwards. If you ask me which one do I still like more, I still do like my DeWalt more just because it's easy to find. I've got a couple of different ones of these. And you know what the heck, I'm going to show you my favorite bit holder right now. This is the pivoting bit from DeWalt, and this is that kind of C clip ring that I was telling you about. This is the retention here. Takes a lot of force to get these out. You kind of got to wiggle them like this. The instructions actually show pliers to get these off. So this ring here is the detent, and it goes around there. Doesn't use ball bearings, and it pivots like this, and you can put a pretty good amount of force on this from an impact without doing a ton of damage to this actual bit holder. Now, what's really good about this is, for electricians especially, ceiling fans, tight spaces, things like that, you can take this, angle it like this, put it in your drill or whatever you're doing, and get completely level with the ceiling. So when you're tightening those ceiling fan screws, your ceiling is here, and you're out of the way of hitting the ceiling or coming in at an angle. So sometimes even with the longest bit, it's a good magnet. Even with the longest bit here, you can see where the ceiling's here. You're still coming at an angle, marring up that screw, finishing, messing up the finished product, I guess. That's what you would say. So, one of the better bit holders for me hasn't been one of the, fancy locking. This is the other one that I was telling you about. You can spot that thing from a mile away. The locking on it is nice and everything, just like the other one. But this thing here, the magnet on this is what really sold this. I've been using these for, I don't know how many years now. Over 10. Maybe 15. Whenever they hit the market, I bought them. And I would say probably since 2012 would be my guess. And you can see here, if you're wondering about the magnet, yeah, it's got a good magnet. One of the better magnets there. So the retention on this thing is crazy. And there you go. It's a short bit here. It's got a lot of functions on it with the pull-out. Hands down, one of my favorite to ever exist. Coming in second, possibly the Milwaukee. We're going to try it out more. I have a feeling that I'm going to lose this. Probably go back to my DeWalt. I understand you could always spray paint it and stuff, but DeWalt's just done a really good job for years making some of the best bit holders. So it's not surprising that it's taken all the competitors years to catch up. This looks like a contender because you have to push it forward to release the bits. This seems like it's pretty skinny, so in certain situations it's nice. Looks like it's easier to lose and doesn't have a better magnet than the Milwaukee. And then kind of the triple thread here would be easy to find the best magnet. And then, just the best retention on there. And even when it pops out, still has very good retention. And just to show you how good that retention is, I'm going to make this thing as heavy as possible so you guys can appreciate the retention on it. It's out right now. I just pull. So, definitely got the better magnet, the better retention. Probably a better choice, honestly. I have impacted the Bosch way more aggressively than I have this DeWalt. But I've used the DeWalt a lot for everyday tasks. A lot of people say don't expect the tool to last if you're not going to use it for what it's intended for. I'm right there with you, but also the Bosch is very capable of doing things that they did not intend it to be made for. And it does them very well. All you need is a little bit of black tape there to stop this from sliding down, and you're golden. So, my top two right here that I've used the most would be the Bosch. And then we're going to be using these, as mentioned here, future videos, letting you guys know what I think about them. Hit me up in the chat below. I'll let you know my experience with each one as time goes on. Let me know what you guys wanted to see in the comments below. Did you guys need to see the Diablo? It's just like the Bosch, except red, basically. And I just don't remember being impressed with it, man. I've used the Bosch for so long. I just didn't see any benefit of it. I almost bought it tonight, but it just didn't happen. If you can't tell, my videos are not staged. They're not scripted. They're barely edited. I'll probably cut this up because I'm at 34 minutes and 28 seconds just talking behind a camera off the top of my head, just based on the knowledge here and showing you guys all the testing. There's no protocol for every freaking checkbox that I do. I'm just telling you what I've done experience-wise in the field, why it's relevant to me, and I thought it might be relevant for you. That's what this whole channel is about, okay? I don't have time to write scripts. I've got a real-time job. I'm not a full-time YouTuber like some of these guys. I'm a real person out here. If you guys have any questions, Let me know in the comments below. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.